Allow me to demonstrate the skill of Shaolin, the special technique of shadow boxing.
Hey guys, I came back from the interview. That's when my hair's pulled back. Interview went really well, so I'm feeling pretty good. Had a good day today. This is going to be the second in my martial arts myth series. No, really. When I said that it wasn't going to be all in a row, I meant it. It's just that right now, the video I wanted to do, I still got to get my thoughts together on that. Don't worry, the next one will not be a martial arts one, okay? For those of you who are like, oh, come on, we want to see a random serious stuff. But, yeah. This is going to be the second stuff on martial arts myths. And as you can see from the title up there, it's going to be on Shaolin Temple. Before I begin, the last one I did, someone was thinking that I was ragging on boxing. I already sent them a text response back showing that I wasn't. But for anybody else who might have thought that I was, I wasn't. All I was stating was that if you just simply want to learn how to fight and you don't want to take a martial art, you just simply want to know how to defend yourself, boxing is probably the best place to go. Because, let's be honest. First of all, I think boxing is a damn good fighting art, period. I don't look down on it at all. And quite frankly, take it from me, boxers seem to know more about how to, protect their knot than many people out there who claim to have black belts. I mean, there's so many McDojos around, all over the place that, teach people college and stuff like that, but they got no real practical experience. If you go to a boxing gym, spending like your $20 or $30 a month, you're going to be lifting weights. You're going to be hitting the heavy bag. You're going to be learning techniques that actually, they work because, they use them in the ring, and you're going to learn the proper techniques of jabbing and, throwing the right punches, how to throw knockout blows, how to hit the body, how to move around, and it'll be practical because they're going to throw your butt in the ring and make sure that what you do is proper. Whereas when you try to take a martial art, first of all, you got to deal with high prices because it's expensive to do that. You then have to hope that the guy you're training under knows what the hell he's talking about. There's so many people who go to a martial arts school for years and they don't seem to realize that what they're learning doesn't work. And then worse, there's so much BS that flows around with what your style is. Or this style was made thousands of years ago by this great grandmaster, such and such, so on, so on, who might be a made-up entity or it may have never happened. So much BS in the art. Boxing is straightforward. They don't have time. Boxing, since it's still used this day in sports and stuff like that, they don't have time to put that type of crap in there. Anyway, I'm going off topic of what I wanted to do in the video, but yeah, I wasn't ragging on boxing. I was just simply saying if all you want to do is just simply learn how to defend yourself, go to a gym. You'll be spending less money and you get your practical experience. If, however, you actually are interested in martial arts, then it's more than just simply learning how to fight. That was the point I was trying to make in the first one. Yeah, now we go on to myth number 2. Shaolin Temple. This is a big one, and I know I'm going to piss off quite a few people with this, but hey, when's that ever stopped me when I was filming these things? Everyone who's taken Chinese martial arts, or even anyone who's just taken martial arts, period, has at least heard of Shaolin Temple once. Supposedly, it's the birthplace of Chinese martial arts. The monks there supposedly have superior skills. They're the greatest school in China. Anyone who's from there has the ultimate technique, etc., etc. Everything I just said was bullshit. Yes, it was. Now, I'm pretty sure that whoever isn't taking Chinese martial art, and particularly if they're taking a school with the word Shaolin on it, are probably getting ready to rush to my house and try to kill me right now. But before you do that, hear me out. You have to understand that there is so much myth in, not just martial arts in general, but particularly with Chinese martial arts. And I'll get into that in another vid. But suffice to say, any honest teacher will tell you that, have you ever asked your teacher, depending on what style you're taking, how did it start? And if your teacher's honest with you, they'll say, well, legend says. That right there means you're not necessarily getting the facts. If you hear legend says, or, well, they say, well, it's speculated that, people think. You hear that all the time in Chinese martial arts. You can't seem to get a straight answer of how it started. Even something as fairly recent, really fairly recent, as Wing Chun has myth behind it. And that's a recent martial art. Bagua is in Chinese martial arts terms, this is fairly recent martial art, and there's myth with that too. It's ridiculous. Shaolin has tons of myths. The basic myth is that a guy named Dao Mo, a monk from India, Buddhist monk from India, came to China to spread Buddhism. And when he arrived at the temple, I'm not going into the whole thing about how he offended the emperor. Well, I'll get into that. He offended the emperor somehow, escaped by crossing the river on a freaking plant across the river, and then makes it to Shaolin, and then sees all the monks there are too weak to keep up with their meditations and their chants. So then he goes up in a cave somewhere, meditates for I think about 10 years, and then comes out with 2 books, classics on training and exercising. One is like the muscle and tendon changing classic, and I forgot what the other one was. But it was supposed to be the stuff that was the basis of Shaolin martial arts. It's garbage. First, we have to knock down the belief that Shaolin is the origin of Chinese martial arts. This is what I want you guys to do, for those of you who believed it. Go to your library or look up online at when Shaolin Temple started. Look at the year when that temple actually rose up. Then what I want you to do is look up when the first swords, the earliest swords were found in China, and look at the dates of when they supposedly were made. You'll notice something curious, that those swords were made thousands of years before Shaolin Temple showed up. Now, what were they doing with weapons like that? Swords, spears, axes, pole arms, and like the G, which is like a weird mix between a spear and a halberd, like the pole axe is what they call it. All these weird weapons were used before Shaolin Temple showed up. There is tales of swordsmen and warriors and all that running around the lands, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, all these things about people running around, great fighters, before Shaolin Temple had ever even popped up. How is it that you got all these other martial artists if Shaolin was supposed to be the origin of Chinese martial arts? Something's not clicking. Then there's the fact that the Dao Mo thing can't be proven. It's a myth. Come on, tell me how somebody... I don't care how good you are at martial arts. Even, again, an honest master will tell you that, studying the eternal arts and practicing chi and all that is supposed to do many things, but supernatural powers isn't one of them. No human being can float on a freaking reed across the river. Now, interestingly enough, it's been proven that reed, the character for that, could also be translated into small boat. So, I mean, we can dissect that particular part there. I'm not saying that there wasn't a Dao Mo. I mean, I'm pretty sure there was. But him showing up at the temple and teaching the martial arts is screwy when martial arts has already been in China. And it's been shown that there were martial artists who had shown up in Shaolin before Dao Mo showed up. Then it's also curious, and this is something that's going to catch a few people off guard. Shaolin actually does not have a style of its own. No, it doesn't. Look, there is no such thing as a Shaolin style. There is such thing as a Wing Chun style, a Cha Fist style, or Cha Chuan, Bagua, Pigua. These are styles. You can more or less look back to the lineage. I know, again, the origins of these martial arts are kind of fuzzy, but they have a particular style and they have a particular flavor. Cha Fist specializes in graceful fluid movements and broken rhythm. Pigua needs looseness of the shoulders, and it's all about like smashing through. I'm trying to think. Baji, which is a very powerful Chinese Kung Fu style, is based on explosive movement and like just using your whole body to blast them like you're shot from a cannon. Wing Chun specializes in close range techniques and so on and so forth. Practical art. They got flavors. What's the Shaolin flavor? Can you tell me what it is? I bet you might be thinking, yeah, I know exactly what it is. But if we get a group of people, who from different schools of Shaolin, and you ask them what the flavor is, you're going to get different answers. And the reason why is because the word Shaolin was used as a brand name even back then, and it really means absolutely nothing. See, when people showed up in Shaolin, there were martial artists from all walks of life who ended up there. Some were criminals, some were rebels, some were just running away, and they showed up in Shaolin. Now, there's not much to do when you're a monk in Shaolin, okay? You do chanting, you do, the chores, clean up the temple, and you do your prayers, and after that, what else? Not much else, except practice martial arts. So that's what they did, especially the people who knew how to fight there. And since you're in this enclosed area, and you got nothing else to do but practice, and you're practicing with other fellow martial artists, you're going to get phenomenally good at it. If anything that you devote a lot of time with, and that's all you do, you'll get damn good at it. And so I'm not saying that the people in Shaolin were not good martial artists. Yeah, there's plenty of proof that some very powerful fighters came from there. But it wasn't this specialized school. They were not the grandfathers of all Chinese martial arts. It was just a place where people from all walks of life ended up meeting in, and they took the martial arts they already knew, and it fermented and grew and developed in that temple. I'll continue this on with the next part.